Hi, everybody. I'm Sundance Senior Programmer Heidi Zwicker. Thank you so much for joining us at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival. I apologize for that slight delay, but I am so excited now to welcome you to the Q&A for Coming Home in the Dark. We're so lucky and grateful to have the team from Coming Home in the Dark join us to discuss the film. Before I begin, I would like to remind you that the chat feature on the platform is now active. You'll find it on the left side of the screen below this video window. That's where you can talk with your fellow moviegoers about the film. On the right side of the screen is the Q&A window, and that's where you should submit your questions for the film team. Please do. We'd love to hear your questions, and we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can. Thank you for doing your part to foster conversations that are welcoming to all and abide by our community agreement. This includes treating moderators, artists, and your fellow audience members with respect. In the event the community agreement is not adhered to, we reserve the right to turn off the chat. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's start the Q&A. I am extremely excited to introduce the director of Coming Home in the Dark, James Ashcroft.
Kia ora.
Hey, James. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem, my pleasure. My name is James Ashcroft, beaming in from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I'm here with actor Miriama McDowell, who played Jill.
Kia ora.
And also we're joined by Eric Thompson, who's beaming in from Australia, who played Hoagie.
Kia ora.
And also Daniel Gillies, who played Mandrake, and he's coming to us from LA.
Hi, I look like a vampire there, don't I?
What a line.
Hi.
Thank you guys all so much for joining us. James, did you want to say anything, or should we dive right into the Q&A?
Yeah, I reckon let's just dive into the Q&A, yeah.
Awesome. So I know the film is based on a short story by Owen Marshall. Can you talk a little bit about how you first encountered that story, and what was it that made you think there's a film in this?
Yeah, sure. I actually, good question, because I want to acknowledge Elric Kane, my best mate and best man. He actually introduced me to this short story by Owen Marshall. I was instantly moved by the material. I thought it had a very arresting tone. It had some great sketches of who these characters are, and really spoke to me as something that came from New Zealand and from our land. And it haunted me, but I didn't know how to bring it to life. So I actually, after I got the option from Owen, I put it to the side for a little while, and Eli Kent, who did the screenplay, with myself for Coming Home in the Dark, we worked on a number of other projects. And until we found a way to get under the material and have it speak to something that was of interest to us thematically and spoke to some of the questions about New Zealand that we have, and was ripe for a contemporary audience, until we found that, once we found that, I should say, it wrote itself very quickly.
I want to ask the actors, because this is such a dark and intense film. I'd love to know what your first impressions were when you read the script and learned about this project. Is this something that's daunting or exciting to sink your teeth into something that is it's so heavy? Daniel, would you like to go first?
No. Yeah. Yeah. So I've said this a couple of times in interviews now, but I actually screamed at the pages when I was reading the script. When I got to page 15 or 16, I'm sure, and I've told James ad nauseum what I thought the film was going to be, which was just something far more by the numbers. And once I hit that sort of mark and had shrieked at the script, I knew that it was something that I really desperately wanted to do. That film is unrelenting, and it just keeps taking a series of hard lefts.
Yeah, and I like Daniel, I got to, sorry, I just jumped in there. Like Daniel, I got to that moment early in the film, the shooting, and I read it, and then I went past it, and I had to go back and go back. Did that just happen? Did they really just do that? So from that point onwards, it was just, here we go, you know. So yeah, it grabbed me, from that point onwards.
Miriama?
Yeah, I'm not a great script reader. I usually do it in a few sittings, and I remember that James sent me the script and I sat at my kitchen table, I think in my pajamas, and just read it in one go. It was like, I cannot stop reading this. I want to find out what happens. But yeah, it's heavy, and actually actors wanna go to those places. Well, I do. So yeah, it was great.
Let's go to some of our audience questions.